The GSI, Geological Survey of India. The GSI in its report, in the recent report, said that about 35% of India's total graphite reserves, about 35% of India's total graphite, GRAPHITE, graphite reserves is found in Arunachal Pradesh. This is the highest graphite reserves found in the country. You all know graphite. Do research on what is graphite, what are the uses of graphite, and also what is graphene, GRAPHENE, graphene. UPSC's most favorite question is graphene, GRAPHENE, graphene. So remember this, Arunachal Pradesh has country's 35% of graphite reserves. Country's 35% of graphite reserves. Headscarf, I think you all know headscarf. Burqas, headscarves, burkinis, they are all being regularly used in Islamic countries. Okay. Recently, Sri Lanka banned burqa, hijab, a variety of burqa. Recently, Sri Lanka banned, you know that, because in the name of using a burqa, some terrorists, like ladies, they might enter some places. For that reason, Sri Lanka banned burqa. But even in countries like Denmark, France, there were a lot of issues about the burqa or hijab. Recently, Austria, European country, Austria bans headscarf in primary schools. Austria bans headscarf in primary schools. Yesterday, the members of parliament on May 15th, the MPs of Austria approved new law banning headscarves in primary schools. Banning headscarves in primary schools. The law was proposed by the ruling right-wing government. Under the new Austrians, it is Austria, European country, it's not Australia, okay? Under the new law, any ideological or religiously influenced clothing, any ideological or religiously influenced clothing, any type of marks, religious marks on clothing, they were associated with any type of headscarf and other things are banned. They are banned under the new law. Remember this. Recently, Austria banned headscarf. You all know last week Sri Lanka banned burqa. And earlier there were many countries who banned, in many European countries, hijab, burqa was banned. Coming back, there is a term called Lokpal. Lokpal is an ombudsman to deal with high level corruption issues. Lokpal. Okay. There is an act called Lokpal Lokayukt Act 2013. Based on that act, recently a Lokpal got appointed. Based on Lokpal Lokayukt Act 2013, recently Lokpal was appointed. His name is Pinaki Chandra Ghosh. And kindly read the functions of Lokpal. And in the state level we have Lokayuktas. In the central level we have Lokpal, state level we have Lokayuktas. Though the Lokpal Lokayukt Act was passed in 2013, only in 2019 the first Lokpal got appointed. Though the act was passed in 2013, only in 2019 the first Lokpal got appointed. The reason is, in the selection committee of Lokpal, in the selection committee of Lokpal, there should be leader of opposition. There should be leader of opposition. But unfortunately, in the 16th Lok Sabha, there is no leader of opposition, because a party, if it has to get the opposition party status, that is, if party member leader of opposition status, that party should have got 10% of seats in Lok Sabha. Only if a party gets 10% of seats in Lok Sabha, it is called as an opposition party, and leader of opposition status will be given to that party's leader. But unfortunately, the Congress party or any other party did not get 10% of seats in the 16th Lok Sabha. So there is no leader of opposition. Then what they have done, they have made a change, amendment, change means amendment, that then leader of single largest party. If leader of opposition is not available, leader of single largest party, they wanted to make a change. So this is what is Lokpal. Kindly read about who is Lokpal, what are his duties. Okay, next. Coming to today's Hindu paper, first page. First page of today's Hindu. Congress will not insist on Prime Minister's post. Congress will not insist on Prime Minister's post. See, on May 23rd, we are going to get election results. If many parties come together and form the government, Mahagathbandhan or something else, we cannot expect what type of post-election coalitions will be formed. So when this formation is made, if Congress gets less number of seats, Congress might not insist that Prime Minister post should be from Congress leader, or Prime Minister post should be given to Congress leader. This was the contention, that this was a very subjective statement. Today we cannot take any clue out of it. These are all statements will be given before elections. It's very common. US President announces new points based green card system. US President announces new points based green card system. See, you all know after Trump coming into power, he is tightening the immigration laws and also the status of various immigrants who entered into America, and he proposed to make a law that only the born, those who are not, means naturalized citizens, how a citizenship can be given. If an Indian goes to abroad and if he delivers a child in America, you might be observing your relatives or sisters or brothers who went to America. If they get a child, they will try to deliver the child in America because the child will get American citizenship. And Trump has proposed 2 years back a new rule that just because a child was born in America, that does not mean that child will get the citizenship status. So many issues is bringing into immigration and citizenship. And in this perspective, US President announced new points based green card system. US President announced new points based green card system. Donald Trump announced a proposal that green cards are allocated not based on complete family or other points, but green cards are allocated on merit system. What is merit? Education, language skills and English proficiency and other factors will be considered while giving green cards, points based green card, rather than just giving green card based on their status or their residence in America. So these changes he is going to bring. Pragna Singh Thakur calls Godse patriot. Unfortunately, the system have come down to that level that for everybody, politicians or political parties are ready to give tickets. Who killed Mahatma Gandhi? Godse. And you should know why Gandhi got killed. You should know why Gandhi got killed. Kindly read. India have given birth to Gandhi. India also have given birth to Godse. But read why Godse killed. Even the person like Gandhi got killed. And I have done some work on, means I have studied on Godse also. He is not completely indisciplined, but his ideological issues made him to kill Gandhi. But praising Godse as a patriot is too extreme a statement, because he undertook violent methods. That too, he killed the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. And this woman is contesting as a MP candidate from Bhopal. As an MP candidate from Bhopal, Pragya Singh Thakur. I don't think that apologies and other things are required. People has to decide whether they want her or not. Okay, rather than political parties giving apologies. Irrespective of party, transcending party system, every candidate should abhor violence, stop violence, right? Even civil services aspirants, whatever they speak, it should carry some sense. It should also carry some sense, because you are allowed to speak, you cannot speak nonsense. In page number 7, 5 militants, 2 soldiers killed in Kashmir. 5 militants, 2 soldiers killed in Kashmir. See, this type of article is very regular in newspapers. Soldiers killed in Kashmir, Jawans got killed in Kashmir, militants got killed in Kashmir. This have become very, very regular. Kindly note it down, the reasons, and kindly remember the reasons. Okay, generally there will be firing, generally there will be some attack, or generally there will be some infiltration. For all these reasons there will be some deaths or fightings. The question is, from last 2-3 decades, every week we will be seeing this type of news. Unfortunately, the question now we have to discuss is how we have to minimize it or stop it, rather than just reading the news. Karl Marx told, philosophers interpret the world. It's really good, but the real problem is how to change the world. It's not just reading the things, it is not just understanding the things, it is now the question how to change the thing. Now intellectuals should focus on changing the things, not just interpreting the things. Coming back, today's articles, editorial, West Bengal Tango. West Bengal Tango. See, this editorial purely political, and to an extent saying that election commission is not showing proper impartiality towards some political parties, showing bias towards some political parties. But before going into this article, I will explain, is the future of Indian democracy secure? From this article, we can easily connect to West Bengal Tango. Okay, is the future of Indian democracy secure? There is next article. If I discuss that article, you can understand the first article. So let's see the important areas of this article. As you all know, we are celebrating elections in our democracy, which is a parliamentary democracy. Democracy means of the people, for the people, and by the people. It should not be of the people, OFF. FAR, for the people, BUI, by the people. Democracy should be secure. Democracy should be protected. Democracy does not mean people going to the polling booth and voting for a candidate or a political party. It is just a part of democracy. Democracy is a wider concept. What do you mean by this wider concept? There were various institutions which are running in the country. Might be CBI, Enforcement Directorate, Income Tax Department, Judiciary, or it might be some institution like Governor, institution like Election Commission, CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General. All these institutions are the part of democracy. Every institution has a mandate. Mandate in the sense it has its own domain and functions. If ruling party interferes in the domain, if the institutions, chairmen or CEOs or executives or institutions topmost leaders, if they toe the lines of ruling party, the image of the institutions will be tarnished. The image of the system will come down. Can it be called as a true democracy? For example, if I am the Prime Minister of India and you are the Chief Election Commissioner, if you cannot take an objective decision against me, can it be called as a true democracy? For example, governor's post, not only in the present government, from Indira Gandhi government to Janata government to P.V. Narasimha Rao government to present Modi government, his governor's post is unbiased. Governor once appointed, he should be unbiased. He should be impartial. So, first question in our democracy is, are the institutions in our democracy safe? Are the institutions in our democracy are autonomous? Are the institutions in our democracy are functioning without any fear or favor? Okay, this is what is the other question in first paragraph, that is in the second paragraph, first question. Second thing, he also raised a question, is the idea of India surviving? Is the idea of India surviving? Is the idea of India is really being protected? That means India is a plural country. Plural country means many, multiple. So we have many religions, many cultures and many ethnicities. We have many differences, and you all know India is a unity in diversity. India is a country with unity in diversity. In spite of diversity, we have the concept called unity and integrity. And the country have a lot of plurality. And you all know the fragrance of the festivals of Ramzan, Diwali and also Christmas. And we celebrate everything. And in fact, we were like a melting pot. We were like a confluence of all great things in the world. India respects everything. We have also the taste of Jewish festivals, to Parsi festivals, to Buddhist rhetorics, everything we taste. But unfortunately, India is going towards one single ideology, dominated by one single ideology called Hindutva. This was the second question the author asked in the article. Today I told you, I think I have told you, anointment 2 days back. Anointment. The word again used in the second column, third paragraph of the article. See, democracy has been reduced into anointment. Democracy is not giving sufficient space for all the sections and all the groups to express their opinions. All the sections and all the groups to express their opinions. It is actually making anointed leaders. Dynastic politics, populist politics, cherishma rather than proper leadership. As you all know, a statesman thinks about next generation. A politician thinks about next election. We are having more politicians rather than statesmen. Okay, a statesman thinks about next generation. A politician thinks about next election. A politician wants only votes. They are not actually required to see the future India. The next thing, rather than focusing on agriculture, poverty and other things, our elections and democracy is full of caste and communal politics. We have many problems to address: malnutrition, poverty, employment, employment issues, women empowerment and other agriculture, health related issues. Irrespective of talking and debating on all these issues, the debate is on important public issues. Before American presidential elections, the president nominees, the candidates who are going to contest in presidential election, they debate on their opinions on various public issues. Conduct debates, people listen to these debates and vote. Fortunately, these debates are missing. These debates are missing. Okay, even that was missing. And when ruling party comes into the system, everything is controlled by ruling party in the country. In India, we have a system called winner takes it all. The winner is everything. Takes it all, the winner is everything. What is this winner is everything? For example, if a political party wins election with a 2% or 1.5% fraction of votes, the political party in power will decide everything. Oppositions are not allowed to speak, they were culled, and even the MPs in the ruling parties will dominate the MPs of the opposition parties. MPs of the ruling parties are very, very active because they have the strength, and ruling parties MPs will not get proper funds to do whatever they want for the people. Opposition parties MPs, all these things is the thing. And when you speak against the government which is in the ruling, you are called anti-national finally. You are not anti-government, you are considered as anti-national. You are not allowed to criticize. Dissent is a part of democracy. If something is going wrong, you have the right to speak against the system. For example, if you speak against the Prime Minister's decision, you are considered as anti-national. For example, if you have your own objections on, say, demonetization, considered as anti-national. That means you are stopping the growth of nation, you are talking against nation. So this is how democracy was reduced into majoritarianism. Only the party which gets majority seats is dominating everything. All these things should be controlled. At least in future, our democracy with plurality should be secured. So very beautiful article. So now based on this article you can connect West Bengal tango. Okay, West Bengal tango. See, I cannot tell the literal sense of what I mean, but I can explain the spirit of it. If institutions are controlled by ruling powers, ruling elite, if institutions are controlled by ruling power or ruling elite, institution has to go soft on ruling party, very hard on other parties. Simple. Beyond that, you read the article, you will understand. And next issue is slippery slope. Next heading, slippery slope. What do you mean by this slippery slope? Very soft and very delicate. It's something like very critical or sensitive situation. When you use the word slippery slope, it is considered as a very delicate or very soft or very concerning situation. Now try to understand. This article is again about Iran and USA. See, in international relations, if one issue creeps up, for 1 month it will be appearing every day in the newspaper, in almost all the newspapers. That too, when the issue is continuously escalating, definitely it will become a big thing. Slippery slope. This article speaks about Iran's foreign minister visit to India, Russia, China, Turkmenistan and Iraq. How Iran has to deal with the new tensions and situation. And you all know, America have withdrawn sanction waiver to the countries, 8 countries who are importing oil from Iran, including India. And America also pulled off all non-emergency diplomatic staff from Iraq, the neighboring country of Iran. I think you would have seen by this time the map of Iran. Iraq is its neighboring country. America's non-emergency, only few staff which are required to meet emergency situations are in Iraq. The rest all were lifted away from Iraq by America. And not only that, America has sent aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. Aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, a missile hardware and B-52 bombers. And B-52 bombers. That means to create a deterrence in the mind of Iran. If US aircraft carrier, Abraham Lincoln, B-52 bombers, and all these things, if they send it, America, to that place, definitely what Iran should think, that America is trying to make Iran to fear and to be submissive. And America also designated Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, as terrorist organization. Iran's army, IRGC, as terrorist organization. And now you should also know there is a strait, STRAIT, strait in Iran called Strait of Hormuz, HORMUZ. Kindly in the geography atlas locate what is Strait of Hormuz. Kindly in the atlas locate Strait of Hormuz. Okay, Iran might close that strait to other international navigation. Iran might close that Strait of Hormuz. Kindly locate Strait of Hormuz. And America is also making lot of allegations on Iran and other things. And next important thing, if Iran should survive in the nuclear deal, P5+1 deal, at least Europe should take some immediate action, European Union. What we need is to de-escalate tensions between US and Iran to establish peace in the Middle East. That was the solution in the article. Slippery slope. Why an industrial policy is crucial? Why an industrial policy is crucial? Why should we have an industrial policy? See, here the author stated that in 2017, in our GDP, GDP means gross domestic product, in our GDP, GDP is a measure of country's total production, total strength of the country. If you see the GDP, you will understand this is the strength of our country. Okay. So the contribution of manufacturing to GDP in 2017 was only 16%. Manufacturing sector to GDP is only 16%. We have seen a stagnation in manufacturing sector even after 1991. See, 1991 is a landmark year for India, because in that, but listen carefully, 1991 is a landmark year for India. It's a takeoff year actually. We have started LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. In the year 1991 we have started LPG. Why we have started LPG? We have started LPG in 1991 because we had severe forex crisis. You all know foreign exchange reserves, $1 billion. The minimum requirement of having forex reserves is to meet at least 6 months import bill. See, if you purchase something from foreign countries, they are called imports. At least 6 months maintenance should be there. But unfortunately, in 1991, we don't have forex reserves even to maintain 2 weeks import bill. India is a India relies on imports, particularly oil imports. In a growing economy, if you cannot pay the bills, what will happen? So for that reason, India went for IMF for help, and India also opened its economy. This is called LPG. So many industries were opened for private sector, and many licenses were not asked now, means it was completely free with small formalities. And globalization, we have connected our economy with the global economy. In spite of all these things, there was a stagnation in our manufacturing sector. There was a stagnation. Even last year, only 16% of our GDP is from manufacturing sector. Contribution of manufacturing sector of GDP is 16%. With respect to other Asian countries, like Malaysia, for example, in Malaysia, the share was tripled to 24%. Thailand, the share was increased from 13% to 33%. So there was lot of difference, except in the second 5-year plan and third 5-year plan period. Except in the second 5-year plan period and third 5-year plan period, manufacturing sector growth in a very good way we have not seen in India. This was the first paragraph. See, manufacturing sector is very important for alleviating poverty. You know why? If we have very good manufacturing sector, we can create employment. Okay? If we create employment, standard of living will increase. First thing. And if you have very good manufacturing sector, we can provide goods and other material required for the country without depending on foreign country. And more importantly, with the increase of manufacturing sector, we will also increase sophistication. Innovations will increase. And one more thing, to create a very good market for agricultural products, raw materials are needed for manufacturing sector. Even manufacturing sector's growth will boost agriculture sector's demand. Not only that, if you have very good manufacturing sector, not only consumer goods but also capital goods will increase. When capital goods and other goods will increase, automatically we can have our self-sufficiency in defense technology. So it is something like a connecting point, something like a very big connecting point where manufacturing sector boosts all other sectors. But unfortunately, if manufacturing sector gets stagnated, all other sectors will get stagnated. So the very important symptom to alleviate poverty when you see the conversion of our economy from developing world to developed world, we should have very good growth in manufacturing sector. If you see any country like Japan, South Korea and even China, their manufacturing sector is very strong. Okay, but India, this is a problem. This is the contention of the author in the next paragraphs. In the second paragraph, see, though no major country managed to reduce poverty, no major country managed to reduce poverty or sustain growth without manufacturing driven economic growth. Yes, no major country have actually grown well without the support of manufacturing sector. This is because productivity levels in industry are important than agriculture and services. So it will also create jobs and spillover effect. See, second paragraph, last sentence, pause to spill over. What do you mean by spillover? If manufacturing gets developed, employment, standard of living, support to agriculture sector, support to defense sector, support to consumer goods, support to capital goods. This is called spillover. This is called spillover. Okay, when this manufacturing sector grows, other sectors also grows. This is important term in economy and IR. This is called spillover effect. Next. If you see the next paragraph, in the US and Europe after 2008 crisis, in the US and Europe after 2008 crisis, what is this 2008 crisis? Remember, try to understand. See, in US and Europe, particularly it began in US, subprime lending crisis. There is a crisis called subprime lending crisis. After that, slowly it went for recession and it affected in European countries also. First of all, you should know what is this subprime lending crisis. See, banks giving loans to the businesses and customers whose track record is not completely right, completely fair. Without seeing the credit record and track record, if you give loan to the customer, he is called subprime customer. Prime customers are the customers who have very good credit record and track record. Their previous history is very good. Subprime customers are the customers whose credit history and credentials are not good. See, when X is evading loan all the time, can you give loan to the X again? A bank? Okay, if X is very good in repaying the loans, he has very good property and credential, you can give him the loan. Otherwise, you should not give. But in the year 2008, 2007, there was a subprime lending crisis in America. Suddenly, banks collapsed. Banks collapsed because people are not repaying money. In bank, there is no supportive money. For that reason, recession started in America. This affected the other markets in Europe also. And finally, this is called 2008 crisis, recession. Slowly, there is no money, growth rates have fallen. See, in the year 2008, I read in the newspaper that 2007, by 2008 or 9, India is going to reach double digit growth rate. Double digit means 10. It might reach 10. Already we have reached 6.77, 7.8 like that. And we all thought, we all dreamt about having a growth rate of 10 by 2010. But unfortunately, you know what happened? The recession in the world also indirectly affected India. But the fundamentals of Indian economy were very strong. So India have not collapsed. Indian economy have not collapsed. But the growth rates got reduced. We have not reached to the expected growth rate levels. So this is what has happened in the subprime lending crisis in 2008. The world have seen a recession in 2008. Okay. So whenever 2008 crisis means, that crisis is subprime lending crisis which affected recession. And at the same time, slowly the European countries like Portuguese, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Greece, they are also in the sovereign debt crisis. The countries went into very bad crisis. You know what happened? Some of the countries spended more on welfare schemes, pensions, unemployment pensions, government expenditure. Slowly countries also went slowly bankrupt. This situation also have come to the world in that particular period. Okay, this is also one crisis, very important, is Greece crisis. Okay, so now see the article. In the US and Europe, after 2008 crisis, the erstwhile proponents of neoliberal policies. Now try to understand again what is neoliberalism. Neoliberalism, there is a word called, see earlier we have studied a word called spillover effect. Next word is neoliberalism. Yesterday I told you, when I am talking about elections in Australia, liberal and conservative. Okay, liberal, who is a liberal person? Very free, freedoms, progressive. Neo means a very modern version of liberalism, completely free. Market should be free, human should be free. Neoliberalism is an ideology where state should not interfere in every aspect of human life, No interference. Man should be free, laissez-faire, completely free. Free markets, everything free. Okay. For example, Margaret Thatcher. Who was Margaret Thatcher? Former Prime Minister of Britain. Ronald Reagan, former President of America. Thatcherism, Reaganism is also a part of neoliberal policies. Open, don't control. Let the business do business. Let them earn profits. Let the rich become rich. More richer. Don't worry about that. Let the world be free. Let them trade well. Let them do whatever they want. And the cultural followers of neoliberalism are like LGBT rights, like live-in relationships, like modern lifestyle, KFC. All these things are the followers of neoliberal tendencies. Cultural followers of neoliberal. Neoliberal means completely free, very modern. Okay, neoliberalism means state should go back. No authority should interfere in human life. Might be academic life, might be cultural life, anything. Let the man be free. Whatever he want to do, let him do. That is also called as neoliberal. So India is not completely neoliberal, but it is also having liberal policies. So 1991 is a take-off period for India. In the same way, 1979 is a take-off period for China. 79. So what we have done in India in 1991, China have done in their country in 1979. Okay, this fact also you should remember. Coming back again. In the US and Europe after 2008 crisis, neoliberal factors starting strategic government efforts to revive their industrial sectors. They wanted to revive their industrial sectors. And here you have one more word called UNCTAD, 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 United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. UNCTAD means United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. See, this UNCTAD, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, actually conducts many conferences and other things for the development of trade in the third world countries, particularly the developing countries. So you should also know what is this UNCTAD. And neoclassical economists, next para. Neoclassical, so before going to next para, you have one more word called ease of doing business. Second column, first para, ease of doing business. What do you mean by ease of doing business? See, there is an index called ease of doing business index. World Bank gives this index. Ease of doing business index. World Bank gives this index. When I started reading about this index, India's rank is 133. Then it have come down to 130. Then it have come down to 100. Now it have come down to 77. That means in India, ease of doing business is being bettered. It was good now than earlier, than 4 years back. Now the things are very, very better. How do you measure this ease of doing? What type of measurements will be taken if you want to give ease of doing support to India? See, if there are very strict labor laws, when you start an industry, if you want to remove a worker, you have to give this much of pension, this much of things. Then we count that it is against ease of doing. To start a business, if there are lot of formalities, lot of procedures, or lot of systemic lapses, lot of corruption, then we say in India there is no ease of doing. Okay. For example, in Singapore, if you want to start a new business, 4 working days are enough. In Singapore, if you want to do any new business, 4 working days are enough. Whereas in India, we cannot tell that. Okay. So, electricity supply, infrastructural support, government clearances, environmental clearances, all these things comes under ease of doing business. Based on these things, an ease of doing business index will be calculated. Based on these things, an ease of doing business index will be calculated. Now understood? Even this, you should immediately tickle your mind when you read this ease of what all these things. So, government should interfere when markets fail. See, I will tell you one small example. Due to NPA problem, non-performing assets problem, the banks are not performing well. Immediately government announced recapitalization, infusing money into the banks. This is called recapitalization. In the same way, when markets fail, state should also intervene in the market. State should support so that economy will again take a recycle. So even this can be allowed. Here the other says, we should have very strong industrial policy. You know why? We have various sectors in the country, but there is no proper coordination between investment, partnership and regional balance and employment. So when you have a comprehensive policy, when you have a planned industrial policy, planned manufacturing policy, automatically country's manufacturing sector will grow. If it is ad hocism, if we follow ad hoc means temporary. Ad hoc means temporary. India will not grow in the manufacturing sector. Unless we have growth in manufacturing sector, we cannot have a poverty alleviation from the country. So what we should have? We should have a very planned industrial policy, very planned manufacturing policy. That is what the author is suggesting. Okay. Here she has given many reasons for a policy. There is a need to coordinated policy in investments. There is a need to coordinated policy in investments. See, for example, I will take the example given by the other. Visakhapatnam Chennai Industrial Corridor. Say, we are developing a corridor. Visakhapatnam Chennai Industrial Corridor. First thing, they will start having a corridor, and then the connectivity between one industry to other industry. For example, you have an industry of food processing. So you want to start an industry for tomatoes processing or mangoes processing. Your industry should have a connect with the agriculture. Wherever there is mango crop, nearby that if you have that industry, the perishability of mangoes will be minimized. So, and at the same time, wherever there is less employment in the region, when you start an industry there, automatically the young people can be skilled there. So, skill development, investments, industrial park and Visakhapatnam Chennai corridor, everything should be properly connected with proper planning. Then automatically industries will go. We have Delhi Mumbai industrial corridor. Though we have Japan also supported, but still a long way to go, because investments, planning, partnership, employment, agriculture should be connected. Otherwise, countries will not grow. In the same way, the other spoke about many ideas. Industrial policies are needed to address learning externalities like skill development, training, human capital, all these things. So, industrial policy should not forget about human capital required, that is skills, that is skill development. And state can play a very good role, role of organizer. State should take a positive role of organizer. And also, industrial policy should not only prevent coordination failures, but also avoid competitive investments. Competitive investments in the sense, see, when you invest in a particular industry or particular area, let the industry grow. If you allow 10, 20, 30, 40 in the same area, there will be lot of complacency in the market. Industries will fail. They won't earn profits. Hundreds of SEZs. Earlier we used to have a commerce minister 15 years back called Mursoli Maran. We used to have a commerce minister called Mursoli Maran. Someday he went to China to visit as a commerce minister of India. China wanted to show off good things to Mursoli Maran. A Chinese minister took him to SEZ, Special Economic Zone. In China, not even dozen of SEZs are present, where everything was completely special to export things. Special economic zones are meant particularly to export the things and to provide certain boost and benefit to the manufacturing sector. And Mursoli Maran have seen this, come to India, wanted to urgently implement SEZs, and India have given permission to SEZs for hundreds of SEZs immediately. What happened? There is no much growth in SEZs now. Okay, there should be proper planning, proper coordination, and you should not create at a single place all the investments. Regional balance should be taken care of, all these things should be seen. So, most of the investors come and invest in Hyderabad, Noida, but not in Vidarbha or Mahbubnagar. What is the use of it? Already Hyderabad is developed, already Noida is developed. But what we need is the development of Mahbubnagar or Adilabad or Vidarbha or Midlachal. Even that we have to address. And we should also learn lessons from structural changes needed, an Asian story. The East Asian miracle. The East Asian miracle. See, in the East Asia countries, with proper market and proper things. See, I will give a small example. Singapore. Singapore is the fourth largest destination of FDIs. Singapore is a small state, just a city state. Singapore do not have its own water resource, its own natural resource. Singapore is small, like an island nation. But still, Singapore, everybody vie on Singapore. It's considered as a developed world. You know the reason? That is a miracle. It was investor friendly atmosphere. They make it as an investor friendly. Even Mauritius is a very small country. Nothing but fishes and tourism. But Mauritius is now a miracle. You know why? Suddenly they have announced tax havens, tax holidays. All these things makes Mauritius a miraculous country. So we have to learn lessons from East Asian countries like Singapore, and we should also make our country a business friendly country so that investments will pour in, manufacturing sectors will grow. And lessons from IT taking root. Should also, you all know, Indian IT industry is known throughout the world. Indian IT industry is known throughout the world. How could Indian software industry had that big boom? So human capital, human resource, how we have made our human resource completely skilled in IT. These type of exercise can also be done in manufacturing sector. So this is the meaning of the article. If you could read this type of articles 20 to 30 and understand, half of our economy, not academics, economy will, analysis will go up. So I expect, based on my analysis now, you read this article 2 to 3 times, make your own notes, and I will make you somebody to speak on this tomorrow. I will ask someone in the class to speak on this article tomorrow. Why an industrial policy is crucial. Can you do research on this? Can you work on this? Service. See, we have 3 sectors: primary, secondary, tertiary. So more than 58-59% is from tertiary, service sector. Service sector is looming large in India. Service sector. Okay. Next, last article is coalition government worse than single party rule. Is coalition government worse than single party rule? See, they have used the word khichdi for coalition governments. They have used the word khichdi for coalition governments. I will give you 4 or 5 points. Kindly make a notes on it. Okay, not today, tomorrow. Coalitions are the adjustments to form the government. The disadvantage of coalition is it is more about continuity of government rather than governance. If you form a coalition government, they worry more about continuation of the government rather than governance. But coalitions are good. You know why? Diversified aspirations. Different aspirations will also take a lead on coalitions. In a way, coalitions are good and bad, but post-election coalitions are too worse. Post-election coalitions are too bad. You know why? For example, if people does not like one political party, they would have voted for other political party. If these 2 political parties come together and form the government, it is nothing but people feel that they are betrayed. They are betrayed. So these things. Kindly read this and make your own notes on this. Done?